Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, is the governor's vision of businesses fleeing California for Arizona accurate? We'll hear from two economists. Also tonight, our legislative update with the Arizona Capital Times, and we'll learn about the Tres Rios Wetlands Project in West Phoenix. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Phoenix City Council today is debating if a group of Satanists should be allowed to give the opening prayer at a council meeting later this month. Today's vote considers an emergency rule change that would block the group from giving the invocation. Also today, the council went ahead and voted to authorize the sale of the city-owned downtown Sheraton Grand Phoenix Hotel for $300 million to a national lodging investment firm. The downtown Sheraton has cost the city anywhere from $40 to $50 million since 2005. And Arizona State University could be setting up shop in downtown Mesa. Mesa Mayor John Giles is expected to reveal plans for a new downtown campus tomorrow. ASU already operates the Polytechnic campus in East Mesa. Details of the plan remain unclear, with ASU and Mesa declining comment about the possible campus addition. Governor Ducey's State of the State address included a number of disparaging references to California's economy and business climate. But is California in such bad shape, and is Arizona doing any better? For the answers, we welcome local economist Jim Rounds, president of Rounds Consulting Group, and economist Dennis Hoffman, director of the Seidman Research Institute at ASU's W.P. Carey School of Business. Good to have you both here.
Good to see you. Great to be here, Ted.
All right. Where do we start with this? Let's start with the idea that you can compare Arizona's economy to California's. Is this apples to apples or something else?
Well, it kind of depends on what you're comparing. So California is much bigger in terms of size. They have a much bigger base in all the different sectors. They have a slightly different economic recovery. But I think what the governor was trying to point out isn't necessarily what got California to be what it's been over the last couple of decades, but more going forward are there opportunities. They're large enough where if we attract a small percentage of those industries, it'll have a significant impact on Arizona. And the response from the California writers had to do more with, well, the per capita personal income is higher in California than it is in Arizona. Well, the cost of living is higher too. The regulatory burden is higher too. The tax burden, you can go down the list and kind of cherry pick what you want, but I think he was trying to be optimistic and say, maybe going forward, we can be optimistic and we can maybe benefit from some of the bad things going on in California.
That would be a nice way to put it, but he didn't put it that way. I mean, he had some pretty negative things to say about California. Does he have a point?
Well, certainly they're competitive comments, but the facts are pretty clear. California is very high tax, high regulations. They're one of a handful of states that has net domestic outmigration, both in individuals and in businesses. If you scour the literature, you find that the disinvestments in California over the last 7 to 8 years have gone largely to 3 states, and we're in the top 3. So we have been a magnet for some of that California disinvestment. The irony in all of this, and those are all facts that effectively back the governor's statements. The irony, though, in all of this is amid all of this, high tax, high regulation, difficult place to be, California has been among the top 10 job creators in the last 4 years. Well, so they're fighting through it.
Well, fighting through it is, it just, again, for someone, I've lived for a while in California, I can understand the scenarios over there and the lifestyle and the whole 9 yards. Right. You battle through some things and you enjoy some others. But for Arizona to act as though, I think the governor said that it was chaos over there. California chaos is how he described it. They seem to have rebounded from the recession much better than we have. They seem to be zooming along much more than we are. What's going on?
Well, it depends. And you have to dig into the numbers. So California, and this was pointed out in the response to the governor's statements, California's rate of job growth is a little higher than Arizona right now. We had a very unique downturn that disproportionately impacted us. I don't think this is going to be the case the next time around. The population growth is still stronger in Arizona right now, but this is a national phenomenon in terms of people not being able to move from one place to another. So there are lots of opportunities. the fix in California, especially when you get to issues like debt per person, the fiscal issues where I think we can manage those much better here, those will matter, and they have a very deep hole to dig out of. But there are some areas that we can look to, and I almost am hesitant on saying looking to California as an example, but like Dennis said, they still do a good job of creating some of those high-tech businesses because of the affiliations with the universities and the Silicon Valley clusters. And this is one area in economic development Arizona has to focus on more. We do a lot of effort in terms of recruiting. We have to grow from within a little bit more too, and I think that we need to look at some of those models.
So I know this is a focus on California, but California is investing at higher rates in their universities, as is Nevada, as is Utah, as is Colorado, as is Oregon, as is Washington. You know, we got big negatives next to our investments in universities, as everybody knows. All of those states are doing very, very well. Now, I don't want to disparage Arizona. Arizona job growth is fine. It is not a leader like it's been historically. So us against us, we're lagging a little bit. I think we got hit much harder by the Great Recession than some of these other states. The irony, if you look at Arizona and California, Arizona tends to prosper while California is prospering. This is not really, doesn't need to be a fight. It doesn't have to be a loser and a winner. There can be two winners here.
Well, that's another question I was going to ask. Is Arizona's instead of making snarky comments about California, I would imagine maybe partnering a little bit, sharing a little bit, would help considering their economy. And you mentioned some other states. We don't do all that well with our peer states. Our growth, and granted, it was a unique situation with the recession, but that doesn't remove the fact that we got hit. That's emblematic of what our economy was during and before the recession. Right. So why don't we just hang on and go along for the ride?
Well, we have to promote our product as being better than our competitors. And it's really a difference of opinion in terms of if the governor was being too harsh or not. But the fact is there are opportunities for businesses that are looking for a more cost-effective environment. Now, I don't want to say cheapest environment. That might have been a decade ago. Now we're talking about cost effectiveness, which is affordable, a good business environment, but also skilled workforce, and getting into that discussion. And that's the only area that I really worry about, because we've done tax reform, and I know we're going to see some fine tuning at the state this next year, or at least I anticipate it. We've done economic development reform, but the things that I want to start seeing people talking about are meetings with the Arizona Small Business Association, NFIB, the Tech Council. I want to see these groups involved in more of the discussion of state reform, because I feel like we can walk and chew gum at the same time, and we've talked about this before. We can recruit businesses, but how can we start those businesses and keep them here once they start?
And isn't that reflective? A recent report showed that as far as investment, angel investors and that sort of thing, we're not doing all that well.
Well, historically, a lot of that VC money has gone to real estate, frankly, Ted. We've not attracted VC money in the same way that
VC is venture capital.
Absolutely. We haven't attracted it the same way Silicon Valley does. But we can make some steps. We can make some progress here. If you look at the corridor, say in Maricopa County, if you look at the corridor from North Scottsdale, say down the 101 all the way down to Intel, and look at that mile west of the 101, that is becoming increasingly very much an innovative hub that is attracting businesses not only from California but from around the rest of the states and around the world.
You see that as well? I mean, obviously there are bright spots, and they should be celebrated, and I think lots of folks do celebrate those spots. But overall, I mean, when your venture capital is so low, I know historically it's been low when it's outside of real estate, but that is reality, isn't it?
VC money can search for great ideas. That's really what it is a magnet for, and you create great ideas by investing in higher education. I know I'm the educator here, but I'm not hearing a lot of pushback from my colleague. I think he pretty much concurs with this.
And remember, we're early on in some of this. We just we're happy with being a growth leader, top 5 in employment, population, income historically. We have this terrible downturn. We go through some economic development reforms. But just this week, in a meeting talking about venture capital, in a meeting talking about all the different groups getting together to improve our international trade position with Mexico, talking about trade with Canada, talking about all these infrastructure reforms, talking about workforce development, small business issues. So we're progressing in the appropriate way. We are moving forward in areas where we haven't spent a lot of time, and we've gotten really good in some areas, but I still feel like this growing from within, and I know I sound like a broken record, but unless we can grow some of these businesses, keep them here, and recruit, we're going to continue to have this kind of volatile business cycle.
Okay, real quickly, about a minute or so left. When the governor says in his State of the State address that businesses are fleeing California and other declining states and coming to Arizona, true?
There is evidence that California businesses are disinvesting in California, moving to Texas, Nevada, and Arizona. That is a correct statement. Now, what we don't have is great data on how much business is expanding in California, how many businesses are going to California. I know young, innovative workers are going to California, and they are growing jobs.
And that's, real quickly, that the millennials, the young innovators, the incubators, if you will, we've got to do a better job of tracking those folks.
And I think we will. We're going to get more of those here, and I think that this discussion right now is only the beginning. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now, I think that this discussion is even going to be more extreme, and I think we might be proud of the path that we've taken if we cover some of these topics.
All right, good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ted.
Get the inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
Pension reform and some strong words from Education Chief Diane Douglas top this week's legislative update. Joining us now is Jim Small of the Arizona Capital Times. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
Hey, all right, Diane Douglas, boy, strongly worded message against a bill in the legislature. What does this bill do?
So this bill, last year there was obviously the fight between Diane Douglas and the State Board of Education, and there was kind of a brokered compromise bill that would have defined what some of the roles are as to what the state board can do, what the superintendent of public instruction can do. The bill had the support of the governor's office, of Diane Douglas, and it died in the legislature. It didn't make it out of, in that rush to the end, there was some opposition to it, and it never got a vote. So this year there's a bill coming back that's basically the State Board of Education's bill, where they've said, okay, we're kind of done playing nice. This bill didn't work last year. We've become mired in lawsuits against each other. We're just going to go ahead and put forth some legislation and that will essentially take a lot of the power, explicitly give it to the State Board of Education, and essentially task Diane Douglas and the Department of Education with carrying out the decisions of the board. The bill is going to be heard in committee tomorrow morning in the Senate. And that statement that you're referring to, she put out a statement against the bill's sponsor, Senator Jeff Dial from the Chandler and Ahwatukee area. And she essentially called him a good-for-nothing liberal who supports Common Core and does not like, essentially someone who lied to the voters, who said that he was against Common Core when he ran for office, and now that he's in office, he supports Common Core and wants to allow the State Board of Education to overturn what she called it, a victory over ending Common Core.
Yeah, and those are among the nicer things she said. She said she was repulsed, she was shocked. This is anti-voter, anti-democracy, anti-children. One of the worst bills I've ever seen. Diane Douglas is no shrinking violet. We don't expect her to sit back and say okay, but that's still some pretty strongly worded stuff. And Jeff Dow's a Republican out there, so I'm not sure how much you can hang the liberal tag on him.
Well, she's certainly not the first person to hang the liberal tag on Jeff Dial. He was one of the Republicans who sided with Governor Brewer on a number of issues, including the expansion of Medicaid a few years ago. So certainly, she's not the first to fire that kind of a shot at him. But yeah, this was definitely the kind of statement you don't see often in politics. That being said, for Diane Douglas, we did see a year ago when Governor Ducey intervened in the firing of some State Board of Education employees, she put out a statement about him that frankly makes this one look a little bit timid.
In the pocket of charter school people and that sort of thing. The future of this bill?
Remains to be seen. I think it looks like it's probably going to get heard. It's on the agenda to be considered by the panel tomorrow morning. We won't know for sure whether it's going to get that hearing until the committee starts and the chairwoman, Sylvia Allen, says, yay or nay to actually letting it be considered. But she told one of my colleagues today that she thinks it probably will get heard.
Okay. Pension reform from the state regarding first responders. I know we did a story on this yesterday. Senator Lesko has an idea. She was surrounded by a lot of, sounds like every single person in the Senate is for this. Mm-hmm. But what's going on in the House? Yeah,
so the House, it's unclear really what's going on in the House. They about 3 hours before this press conference to announce this landmark negotiated deal with public safety unions and the governor's office and everyone else to try to fix this pension system and right the ship on it and get it going in a good direction. The House held a kind of an emergency stakeholders meeting where they invited most of the stakeholders to the table to hear a presentation essentially about what they didn't like about the bill, the problems, the shortfalls that they thought it had, and potentially, I think give some window into what maybe what sort of changes if there's a competing bill that's going to come forward, and I think indications are that there probably will be, kind of what that bill would look like.
Okay, and right now the bill itself in the Senate, it splits the cost between the employee and the city, caps pensions at $110,000 a year, and increases the required time on the job before retirement. It sounds to me like someone may have a problem with one of these things and they're nosing around the House to see if they can get it fixed?
Yeah, a little bit, and I think to be clear, all of those changes are for new employees, for employees that would be hired after July 2017. And I think that's one of the concerns is that there aren't changes necessarily to the existing employees. I mean, there's a constitutional issue with doing that. The legislature tried to do that a few years ago, and the courts rejected it. One of the main components of this plan is that for these new employees, they have the option of kicking in for either a defined contribution plan, which is similar to a 401k, where you and the state put in a certain amount of money and then you invest it, or a kind of a hybrid plan that's kind of a hybrid between that sort of a model and this traditional pension where you get a defined benefit, where every month you're going to get X number of dollars. And there's some concern that maybe in that plan that not enough people are going to choose the 401k style option, which is where the savings are realized from the state's end. And if those savings aren't realized, then this whole proposal, the math on it just suddenly stops working. So I think that's one of the things we may see addressed by the House.
But pension reform will happen.
We don't know. I mean, the issue here is that you had a year-long negotiation to get to this bill, this Debbie Lesko package of bills. This is not something that was just taken upon lightly. I mean, this is months and months of meeting and a lot of back and forth and a lot of times where it looked like nothing was going to get done, where the sides couldn't come to an agreement. The fact that you were able to get the firefighters union, Andy Biggs, the governor's office, the Reason Foundation, which is kind of a libertarian think tank that really has gone after public pensions and worked to try to reform them, that you could get them all to agree on something is astounding in a lot of ways. So the idea is, I think Debbie Lesko said yesterday that she's open to some changes to the plan, but only if every one of those other players agrees to it, because essentially she's not going to kill this deal to mollify a couple of people in the House. If a couple of those people happen to be in House leadership, though, that presents a problem politically as to how do you get that bill from the Senate to the House to the governor's office.
Interesting. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that one. There's so much going on here. We'll probably talk about it on the roundtable on Friday, but good stuff. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Tonight's look at Arizona sustainability focuses on Tres Rios, 480 acres of man-made wetlands near 91st Avenue and Baseline. Producer Jonathan Rugg takes us to this unique resource just north of the Salt River.
The adolescent states were really rocky. We were manhandling this place, and we got it under control. And part of it was trying to get the environment to stabilize itself to where it knew what it was, giving itself an identity.
Desert productivity is limited by water availability. In aquatic systems, water availability is not an issue, and so more often than not, the productivity of the system is limited by one of two what we call macronutrients. And they're the same things that you find in fertilizer. They're nitrogen and they're phosphorus. In Arizona, the limiting nutrient is nitrogen. If you get too much of the nutrient that's controlling ecosystem productivity, the system becomes too productive. It becomes what we call eutrophic and polluted. We get fish kills, and it's no longer safe to drink. The water that leaves our houses in pipes when we take showers, we do laundry, we flush toilets, winds up at a very sophisticated wastewater treatment plant. There are maximum levels of nitrogen that the city is not allowed to discharge into the Salt River. The city could very easily have made the wastewater treatment plant across the street technologically able to get all of the nitrogen out of the water. It would have been very expensive and very energy intensive.
Just in facilities to match what they can do in their design parameter, it would probably be well over $5 billion.
Instead, they chose an easier route. We'll spend a little bit of money, a fair amount of money up front designing and building the thing, and then basically we just sit back and let nature do the work for us.
Tres Rios was built more as like a polishing tertiary filter. It turns around and takes our effluent, which has really good nitrogen removal, and it knocks it down even farther.
We were, as ecosystem ecologists who work in wetlands, we're very interested in understanding how this system is working, how it's doing the job that the city is expecting it to do. And so we thought, you know, if you put a wetland in a very hot, dry climate, it's going to be losing a whole lot of water to the atmosphere.
And that is what we were worried about, was that this increasing drawdown of water is going to concentrate whatever is in the water, but stress out the plants, make it harder for them to do their job, and then obviously decrease the performance of the system.
For the first time ever, we've documented what we call a biological tide. It's effectively a very gradual movement of water into the marsh that's completely driven by the biology of the plants. We have lots of evidence that if nitrogen gets into this marsh, it gets completely expunged from the water. This biological tide phenomenon that we found is doing a better job than if it was in a cooler place or a more moist place. So when you have a natural ecosystem or an ecosystem like this that's asked to do something that benefits humans, it's providing an ecosystem service. That job of nitrogen removal was the ecosystem service of design. But what we saw happen out here was another ecosystem service that the city was not expecting, and that was that this place became an absolute mecca for wildlife, especially for birds.
For people in the Audubon and biologists, we weren't surprised at all. We firmly believe that in this situation, if you build it, these birds will come and they will use these resources. The Tres Rios is really key for water birds and waterfowl that come here to spend the winter.
There's a flock of 3 or 4 dozen white pelicans that came here to winter 3 winters ago, and they never left. So our little oasis of productivity in the Sonoran Desert is home to dozens and dozens of different species of wetland and aquatic birds, and that's really cool. Most of the water that's going from this system here and being discharged into the salt flows downstream, and it hits what's called the Lower Buckeye Diversion Dam.
And then that water is utilized for agricultural uses.
As we go into the future in recycling and reusing waters, that we'll always have this as being a component of it.
I have spent my entire career studying wetlands from a very holistic perspective. And so there's something very cool about working in a system that was specifically designed to do a job, and thanks to the birds and the other wildlife, turns out it's doing other jobs that we weren't expecting. So I love wetlands. It doesn't matter where they are, what they're doing, what they look like. They're amazing places.
Tres Rios provides ecotourism for the region, flood protection for local residents, and, as you saw, habitat restoration for native plants and wildlife. For more information, Tres Rios, you can find it at the city's website, phoenix.gov. Thursday on Arizona Horizon, hear from Clint Hickman, the new chair of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, and we'll speak with a creative designer on how pop culture impacts technology. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.